All right, thanks for logging in. Again, today we're just going to go over the small claims court paper instructions briefly. This shouldn't take too long, but I want to make sure everybody understands the instructions. This paper is worth 20% off your grade, so that's a big chunk, and there's no reason why somebody should not get full credit for this, especially after coming to this meeting, or if you're watching the recording. After watching this recording, it's pretty clear, pretty straightforward what you have to do to get full credit for this paper. So I'm sure by now you know what small claims court is. Small claims court is basically a court for small cases, for cases under a certain dollar amount, where you don't need to hire an attorney. There are not a lot of really high court filing fees, and it gets resolved pretty quickly. Most of the time, the dollar amount, in California at least, it's the case cannot exceed is $10,000, right? So the main resource you're going to use for this paper is the court's website, right? You could use Santa Clara Superior Court, San Mateo Superior Court, San Francisco, whichever. I would suggest just use the county that you live in, right? And do that court. It has to be a California court, right? So you'll find all kinds of information on there, right? What's really, really important is, even though you find the answers to my questions for this paper on the court's website, you should never copy and paste it into your paper. I want you to write this in your own words, summarize it in your own words, and then answer the questions in your own words, right? So when you do this, although this is a paper, I don't want you to write an essay format. Instead, I want you to answer the questions in the order they're listed and include the question numbers and letters here. And I'll go over these briefly. If you do that, there are two reasons why I want you to do that. One is you might forget to answer one of these questions if you write an essay format. And secondly, when I grade your paper, it's actually easier if I see if you answered the question by looking at your paper. If you just write it in one long paragraph, I have to look for things, and I might actually overlook that you actually did provide the answer for something, and you might not get points accordingly, right? Anyway, so here are the 4 sections that you have to do for this paper. The first one is very easy. Where do you obtain a form you need to file a small claims suit against another person or another entity? You could do it against a company as well, right? You can either attach a copy, make it into a PDF, or the easy way here is actually if you just provide the link to the court's website to this specific form. I think in Santa Clara it's called SC100, but don't quote me on that. But give me the the form's name, and provide the link to it. That's the easiest, right? Use full sentences. Don't just put the link. And then Part B is kind of like an essay. In your own words, summarize the steps to file a small claims court suit in California. So this would probably be about a page or so, right? Depending on how wordy you are and how much into detail you want to go. I want the important things anywhere from what do you have to do before you even file. For example, before you file a small claims case against another party, you should actually, you have to actually ask the party to settle it with you before you file a case, right? The party has to even know that you owe them money, right? And then when you file it, the form you have to file, you might want to repeat it there, and the process you have to go through. It has some steps on the court's website. Don't just copy the steps, but kind of summarize it in your own words, right? This is, again, the only one that you're going to answer more like in an essay format, right? So that's part B. Part C might have some information you have already included in Part B, but I still want you to answer these questions and include the question numbers, right? So question 1 is, what are the legal requirements to file a small claims court case? So again, you will find the answers on the court's webpage. Like one of them I just mentioned was you actually have to ask the party for the money first. Another legal requirement is it has to be within the statute of limitations. So actually, yeah, those are the most important ones. There are some other ones that you will find on the court's website. I don't want to just give away everything, right? And the question number 2 is, where does one file such action? Which court has jurisdiction? You know, a lot of times when you have a case against somebody or against another party, could be a company, the company might not even, or the person might not be even in the same county where you are. So look up where you have to file it. Do you file it where they live? Do you file it where you live? Do you file it where something happened? We covered jurisdiction, I think it was in chapter 2. So if you're not sure, just kind of look up things where you should file stuff, right? And then what topics does small claims court include? Come up with your own examples. Don't just copy what you find on the court's website, right? There are lots of examples. You know, you borrow something, you borrow money from a friend and you don't pay it back your friend. You borrowed $500 and don't give it back. Your friend drives your car and has an accident and you agree not to go, you know, not to get insurance mixed into the equation, but you ask your friend to reimburse you for the damages and your friend doesn't. You can, you know, try to get get remedy in small claims court. You move out of an apartment and the landlord doesn't give you the deposit back, even though you left it cleaner than when you moved in. Things like that, right? So come up with your own examples. What's the age limit to file, if any? Technically, the age limit is 18. However, if you are not 18, a legal guardian can file for you, right? Just because you're not 18 doesn't mean you don't have the right to recover for any damages you might have received. And then the dollar limit that you can sue for, break it down by number of claims per year and entity. Overall, the top amount is $10,000. But this all depends on if you are a business or an individual and how many times you have filed within 1 year, right? Sometimes you might only do one more case up to 5,000 or something like that, right? So make sure you provide the details for that. What specific papers must be filed and how much does it cost to file? Provide details. Again, of course, the form, you know, any other things that you have, any other papers, contracts. A lot of times cases are about contract disputes. You want to make sure that you include those or have them present. I should have maybe rephrased the question, but have them present when you go to small claims court, right? And then can an attorney be present? Yes or no, and why or why not, right? Just to give it away, because you're going to find that out on the website. Anyway, an attorney cannot be present when you go to small claims court. You are basically representing yourself. You can, of course, consult with an attorney all you want and pay them as much money you want, but in the end, you are going into the courtroom without your attorney, right? And then part D is explain what you learned from this assignment. Your paper should be about, what is it, 3 to 5 pages. It's probably most of people have 4. 3 is really kind of short, right? That is just the bare minimum. If you do 3 pages, that's not going to get you full credit. At least 4 pages, I think you're fine if you want full credit for this paper, right? Remember, pages are not determined by how you formatted your paper, because you could not follow the format that I require, but use big fonts or large margins. It's by word count of your response. So if you repeat the question, the word count of the question does not count towards your response, right? So, and 1 page is about 250 to 300 words. So 750 words would be the bare minimum of 3 pages, which wouldn't get you full credit. Make sure you provide details. And don't make it like where the entire paper is about D, what you learned, right? Now, sometimes I have students who have actually been a party of the lawsuit in small claims court, right? If you have been, please feel free to mention that and maybe describe that experience. You could describe that in B, say, I have gone through this and this is what happened, but then still make sure you answer these questions. Right. So that's the description. I'm going to stop the recording and then I will take some questions from you all if you have any questions. Again, very, very important. I can't emphasize how important it is not to copy anything from the court's website or from anywhere else. This should be all in your own words. There's no reason to put quotes of people, right? This is not an opinion paper or anything. These are just really instructions how to file a small claims paper. So if you follow all of this and do a good job and follow all the general writing requirements that I have posted on Canvas and follow college writing guidelines, you should be fine. So I'm going to pause the recording now or stop the recording. Hold on one second.